Why am I wet? I leapt from the carpeted floor onto my feet, and I realized that it was the carpet that was wet. That was weird, but not the weirdest thing I'd see today. I looked around to see myself situated in a room with this odd yellow wallpaper. The ceiling was inconsistently scattered with fluorescent lights that made a very loud buzzing. It made it hard to concentrate, and along with the gross smell of the wet carpet, I couldn't even form full thoughts. I also realized that I felt as if I had been awoke from a very long nap. Considering my drowsiness, who was I? Why am I here? And what is this place? I started walking around, and a memory suddenly hit me like a truck. The wallpaper is very similar to the one in Grandma's house. I tried to remember her, but the memory faded faster than it came. I gave up on trying to remember and concentrate on just getting out of this place. As I began to walk around, I noticed that once I entered a new room, there would be entrances to other rooms. And as I entered those rooms, there would be entrances to other rooms. It wasn't like a pattern, but random placement everywhere. There were also pillars spread throughout this place too, and as I walked further, I started to panic. There were rooms after room after room. I knew that panicking wouldn't help things, so I decided to walk in a single direction to see where it might bring me. I tried looking out for anything other than the yellow walls, but it was endless. I walked for what seemed like hours, but I didn't have a way to tell the time, and I started feeling hungry. Suddenly, something grey caught my eye. I couldn't contain my excitement, and I ran to see that it was one of those filing cabinets you'd see in an office. Another surge of memories flooded through me, reminding me of my dad's office. This time, I tried to grasp onto the memory and tried to remember what my dad looked like. But it slipped me just when I was starting to get somewhere. I let it go and I searched through the cabinets. The only things I found were 2 bottles of this drink called almond water. Without even thinking about it, I drank it down in a couple of seconds as I was very thirsty, and to my surprise, it actually tasted decent. I took the other bottle with me and I continued back on my path. As I continued to walk, I thought about the possibility of something being here with me. I shut down the idea and I continued to walk. After a couple more hours, I was convinced that I had passed the same pillar at least 5 times. To confirm my theory, I continued through the same direction and sure enough, I was right. I was exhausted from all that walking, so I just sat with my back to a wall and my eyelids started to feel heavy. And before I knew it, I was asleep. When I woke up, I almost thought that it was just some bad dream. The buzzing of the lights reminded me otherwise. I figured that this place is some sort of maze, but I didn't follow the rules of physics. I decided that I would just change directions often to see if that works. In order to continue, I had to endure another day of walking in the mushy and moist carpet of this place. Can't help but feel trapped, alone, and helpless. And I never thought that I would ever say this, but I wanted to cry. What if there was no escape? What if... No, I need to keep going. I have to. There must be an exit, even if this place doesn't follow the laws of physics. Since I was just walking for almost the entire time, I tried to remember more about myself. I remember that my name is Greg Heffley, and though it wasn't much, it was still a huge step in figuring out who I am. Suddenly, an object along the ceiling caught my eye. It was a thin pipe that stretched across the room. I decided that it was best if I followed it, so I did. As I continued to follow it, the walls began to gradually turn more dull in color. It's not like the wallpaper was disappearing, but as if it's changing materials. Just then, a black object went in and out of my field of vision. I don't know if I was hallucinating, but I didn't want to have an encounter with whatever it was, so I was on lookout. After following the pipe for a while and turning my back every 5 seconds to look back anticipating an attack, I got tired quickly and decided to get some sleep. Once I woke up, I decided to stop caring about whatever I might have seen, but after a while of being careless, I turned the corner and came face to face with this thing. I couldn't move. It felt like we just stood there forever. But when it finally made the move, I bolted away from there. I didn't look back until I couldn't breathe anymore. I don't know if I outran it or if it let me get away, but I wasn't going to take any chances anymore. Luckily, I was able to backtrack and find the pipe again. As I kept walking, I couldn't shake that feeling that it or something else was following me. After every few steps, I looked back to see nothing. Had I imagined that thing? No, it was definitely real. I'd felt the atmosphere around me change when neared it. I don't think that I'm going insane. At least, I don't feel like I am. So far, I think that I've been here for 2 days at least, since I've fallen asleep twice. I've also been trying to remember more about myself, still with no luck. I just hope that when I get out of there, I'd be able to see my parents again, even if I don't remember too much about them. For now, I'm gonna try to get some sleep. Day 3. You'd think that trying to sleep would be hard, but it's been surprisingly easy to. Probably because I go to sleep when I can barely walk anymore. Today, I continue to walk beside the pipe, trying to remember more about my past. Why does it have to be like this? It makes me so frustrated trying to remember something from scratch, almost like trying to write a story without the plot. What makes it hard is the lights. Just when I thought I was starting to get used to it, it just starts buzzing louder and the stench of the carpet grows stronger. I do have luck in finding almond water in cabinets, but they can also be in drawers of office work tables that appear randomly in some rooms. As I keep walking through this enigmatic place, I have just discovered a room covered with what happens to be black vines. Just then, a memory struck me again. Vines and plants. When was the last time I saw a plant? I couldn't concentrate on that because I caught a glimpse of the movement in the room, and as I turned to look at it, some of the vines were pulling away from the walls as if it were detaching itself. I didn't waste any time and I ran like the wind. I could have signed up for the 100-meter dash because I was clocking at least 30 miles per hour for more than a couple minutes. This time I didn't stop because I could hear the squishing of the moist carpet behind me. I wasn't going to take any chances to stop or look back. I kept with the pipe, and when I turned the corner, I was met with a long hallway with a speck of grey at the end. My heart was racing faster than my legs, and without even thinking about it, I charged as fast as I could towards it. I didn't care that there was a monster chasing me, as long as I got out of these yellow rooms. As I continued to run, my mind went blank. I didn't know if the thing was still behind me, but it wasn't going to stop me. My lungs were burning, my vision was narrowing, my legs were aching. I don't know how long it took, but somehow I made it without stopping. I was on the ground, catching my breath. As I regained it, I realized that the thing could still be after me. But when I looked back, there was nothing there except a grey concrete wall. I looked around to scan my surroundings to see a facility made almost entirely of concrete. There were concrete pillars around and fluorescent lights that were a lot quieter. This place resembles an underground parking lot, but it is a lot bigger. Once I've scanned my surroundings, I just ran. Why couldn't that just be the end? Why am I here? Suddenly, a thought hit me. What if this place has a series of never-ending levels? No, that's impossible. The yellow rooms were probably built in a warehouse or something, and this should be close to the exit. My run broke into a sprint, and I could feel the air, resistance pushing against me.